Hello there, and welcome to this third instalment of me reading from my book, The Curse of the Unremembered by Daniel Davis, which is me. I think this will probably be the final instalment, but you never quite know, because hopefully this is a teaser to get you to be more interested in the story. Links below, all available on Kindle, through Amazon, and also you got your hard copy that you can get to. Anyway, let's crack on. Chapter 3. The glade beyond the exit swayed in a tranquil wind. In the centre was Asatru, the great white stag. He engulfed the space, at least 3 times the boy's height, not including the antlers. Did the trees move out of the way? It was a valid question. There was no path in, not one wide enough to accommodate Asatru. The boy edged closer. It was so beautiful. The fur almost glowed, each hair coated in light. The stag breathed easily through its nose, blinked purposefully and ever so gently lowered its head to the boy's height. Its breath felt like a spring breeze on his skin. Stretching out his fingers, the boy waited. The enormous head of the stag nodded. Unaware he was holding his breath, the boy exhaled as his fingers slid over the soft fur. He ran his hands along the stag's neck, only stopping as he found himself staring into the beast's oval eye, as blue as any sky. "Thank you," he whispered, swallowing down the lump in his throat. "Without you, I would—" The stag blinked again, and with the tip of its head nuzzled the boy's cheek with the side of its warm nose. "Asatru the Great!" sang a voice from behind. The boy jumped, and Asatru made a back step. Tinglenook scurried out of the organic hut, his roots knotting as he dashed toward them. "Please forgive me. I have heard such tales of your life. You are a part of the very blood of Avalonia. Your full title seemed appropriate." Tinglenook came to a halt beside the boy, his eyes fixed on the beast. Asatru bowed his head. "Indeed, I understand," Tinglenook said with a cheerful voice. "Understand what?" asked the boy. The sapling grinned. He was focused entirely on the stag, the leaves of his crown flapping wildly as he nodded. I see, he said, before telling the boy. "It seems you cannot hear Asatru." "Hear him? Yes, well, maybe hear is the wrong word. It's more like sensing, I suppose." The boy examined the face of the stag. Its mouth wasn't moving. There certainly wasn't any voice. "Asatru says that this is temporary. Eventually, he will be able to talk to you directly." "So you can speak with him?" "Of course. It's far stranger that you cannot." High above his head, the stag flicked its ears and shook its head. "Asatru says you look well." An understatement. Since drinking from the beaker, he had exponentially improved. The boy plonked down onto a log framed by delicate yellow flowers. The citric scent stung his sinuses, in a pleasant way. "I'm afraid his memories have not returned." Tinglenook glanced over at him. "I remember nothing." The boy squirmed on his makeshift bench. "I have a sense of recognition, of things, of words, but nothing else." "What of the lady? Did she seem in any way familiar?" asked Tinglenook, on Asatru's behalf. "Yes," the boy exclaimed. "Both of them." Asatru cocked his head. "He saw 2 incarnations," Tinglenook told the stag. "The elder woman and the younger woman," the boy explained. A tiny bird, with bright blue plumage and flecks of stark red on its beak, landed on Asatru's antlers. "Who are they?" he asked. "This is a special place. It is new, a virgin land in its first throes of creation. It is a place where the reality is yet to solidify." The bird, seeming to believe it was in the boughs of one of the surrounding trees, tapped its beak on Asatru's branches, then flitted onto his broad back. "The Lady of the Glade is the very essence of renewal, all things to all beings," the translating sapling told him. The bird hopped out of view, and the boy, distracted, stood to watch as it pecked vigorously at the fur. "You see and experience the Lady of the Glade in the form that will help you the most. The woman and the young lady are important to you." Asatru hoped this place would spark remembrance. Alas, instead, Tinglenut broke off. The aborted sentence sliced through the boy's mild interest in the bird. Instead what? The sapling eyed the enormous creature, half hidden in its shadow. His arm branches jerked up and down. A shrug? There is a way to restore your past, but it's not here. A disembodied growl echoed around the glade. Startled, the petite bird fluttered away. It sounds like we should get you that food I promised, said Tinglenut, laughing half-heartedly. He patted his trunk where the belly might be. The boy's eyes widened as the stag bowed its head before him. He got to his feet. Returning to full height, the stag tipped his antlers to Tinglenut. Of course, Tinglenut said. I shall see to it immediately. Our lady wishes to speak with you, Asatru. The stag stared down at the boy. Asatru says you shall leave at the first kiss of the sun disk. Leaving? Where are we going? Something grazed his hand and coiled around his fingers. He pointed his eyes down, too afraid to move. It was one of Tinglenut's wooden hands gripping two of his fingers. First, Asatru must speak with Our Lady. A frown weighted the boy's face. And you must eat, drink, and refresh. The rumble in his belly echoed his agreement. Tinglenut stroked the boy's arm and said to Asatru, I promise. The boy glanced hopefully at the tiny tree. He says we must go easy on the toadberry juice. It has quite a kick. It was hard to be sure, but it appeared the tree winked at him. The stag brushed the ground with a hoof and blinked twice. Tinglenut tugged on his fingers. The boy loosened his arm and allowed himself to be led back into the cool of the cabin. The floating table greeted his hungry eyes. It was smothered in nuts and berries, even more numerous and elaborate than before. He dove in. Sticky, sweet juices drizzled his chin, and his taste buds erupted into a triumphant return to life. So many textures and tastes. Here, said Tinglenut as he placed a wooden beaker next to him. One cup will do no harm. He scrunched up his wooden face. The sweet, honey-like juice slid deliciously down his throat. Unlike the liquid he'd tasted earlier, this drink sat warm in his belly, and with each glug, the beaker emptied. Don't tell Asatru, Tinglenut whispered as he placed a fresh beaker on the table. The boy polished off his first helping, then set to work on the next. A sheepish smile crept across his lips. Tinglenut poured some of the liquid onto the ground. The sapling grinned, stepped onto the soggy patch, and sighed. His roots sunk into the earth, and the shallow puddle began to disappear. The boy chortled as Tinglenut's leaves went floppy. Ah, said Tinglenut. There's nothing quite like a nice drop of toadberry juice to end the day. A few swallows later the pair were rolling on the ground in hysterical laughter, and there they stayed until the boy's ribs ached with pleasure, and the sapling's branches quivered with joy. So there you go, guys. That's chapter 3, the conclusion of the first 3 chapters to The Curse of the Unremembered. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope even more that it's enticed you to take more of a look at the story itself. As I said before, all links are in the description. If you're interested in this story or any more that I'm going to be working on, then please press subscribe. Remember to like this video. And if you do read the book, please review it on Amazon if that's at all possible. As I've said before, even the ones that maybe we don't want to hear so much, that it does help self-published authors a great deal and is more appreciated than you can imagine. So in conclusion to this video, I'd just like to wish you a good day and hope to see you soon. Goodbye.